Hello students, today we will discuss some numericals on centrifugal compressor. In centrifugal compressor, we are having the numericals on basically the velocity triangles. Then we are having the numericals on TS diagram. Then we are having the numericals on performance factor. Okay. So in velocity triangle, we have to solve the numericals for efficiency and head discharge and vane angles, etc. And in TS diagram, we have to solve the numericals on the basis of to calculate the isentropic efficiency, joule work, or finding out the different temperatures. Also, we are having some numericals on performance factor also. So performance factor means sleep factor, pressure coefficient, power input factor, etc. And we can have the numericals on the combined numericals on this TS diagram, performance factor, and velocity triangles. Definitely, we are going to study the numericals on the pre-whirling of the compressor also. So all these numericals types are very important. So we will discuss one by one. The first one, numericals. We'll start with the numerical number one. A centrifugal compressor delivers 10 meter cube per second of air when running at 10,000 rpm. The air is drawn in at 1 bar and 300 Kelvin and deliver at 4 bar. The isentropic efficiency is 80%. Blades are radial outlet and constant flow velocity is 64 meter per second means Vf1 is equal to Vf2. And blades are radial outlet means what? Phi is equal to 90 degree. The outer diameter of the impeller is twice of the inner diameter and the slip factor may be taken as 0.9. We have to calculate the temperature of air at outlet of the impeller, power required to drive the compressor, impeller diameters, inlet and outlet, impeller blade angles at inlets, is theta we have to calculate, and diffuser angle at inlet. Diffuser blade angle means what? The angle of the velocity component by which the compressed air is entering into the diffuser section, and we know that the air entering the compressor initially before stacking the impeller is the V1 velocity, it's leaving with the VR2, but that flow of the air entering in the diffuser by means of the component V2. So whatever the angle associated with the V2, that is the diffuser blade angle at the inlet. So by studying the velocity triangle, you will come to know that points. Okay, these all are the given data we already discussed. Okay, starting with the centrifugal compressor numerical. First of all, one has to always understand which temperatures are given, because in compressor we are dealing with static temperatures or static properties or stagnation, or also called as a total head properties. Okay, so we have to read every numerical very carefully, and depending upon that one, we have to find out whether the properties are given static one, or whether properties are given stagnation one, or whether both properties are given. Now accordingly we have to draw the TS diagram. In this numerical, they are just mentioned over here. The air is drawn in at 1 bar and 300 Kelvin and delivered at the 4 bar. Means this is a purely static properties. Okay. So in the sum of the numericals, they have mentioned the ambient conditions. Ambient condition always the stagnation condition. While discussing the TS diagram, we have already studied all these things. Where the temperatures are statics, where the temperature are the stagnation ones. Okay. So in this case, the properties are given in the static. Okay. So there is a T1 and T2 only. Got it? And you have to find the temperature at air at outlet. Okay. So just see these velocity triangles now. This is a velocity triangle at inlet initially by showing the figure B over here. Okay. So this is an inlet triangle. The air is going to the strike the impeller blade with the Veyron component with angle theta. This is U1 horizontal, and as the we know that air is entering the compressor with the alpha angle is 90 degree, that is V1 is equal to V1. At outlet, as blade are radial at outlet, so phi is 90 degree, so it will leave the blade also Vf2 is equal to Vr2. Actually Vr2 is missing over here. Actually Vf2 is equal to Vr2, otherwise Vr2 somewhere like this. Okay, somewhere here. So phi is less than 90 over here. So we can see here, if the particular this phi is less than 90, then this is like this. Okay, somewhere here. But as this phi is 90 degree, so Vf2 is equal to Vr2. Otherwise, Vr2 component lies on this axis. Okay, so we don't have it. Then coming with the TS diagram. As we are doing with the static properties, dealing with the static properties, so we have to take the only static properties, pressure lines. We have to take the T, that is temperature on y-axis, entropy on x-axis. We have to just draw the pressure lines over here. That is P1 pressure line and P2 pressure line. P1 pressure line indicates the inlet pressure at the impeller, P2 pressure line at the outlet of the impeller. And you have to draw the actual compression pressures 1 to 2 line, and you have to again draw the we can say the isentropic process also without losses 1 to 2 dash. Okay, because isentropic efficiency is given, and you have to find out the T2 temperature. And T2 temperature can be find out by using this one relation. Okay, so we will start one by one. Okay, so first of all, you have to calculate the final temperature of the air. We know that from the adiabatic process or isentropic process, in terms of the adiabatic index, we are having the relation T2 dash upon T1 is equal to T2 dash upon T1 raised to gamma minus 1 gamma. This is a very basic thermodynamic relation. We have to use this. And this P2 dash is equal to, we can take the P2 also. Because if you see the diagram, this P2 is a single pressure line. So 2 and 2 dash point lies on the single pressure line. So this P2 is equal to P2 dash. Okay, and we have to take the ratio T2 dash upon T1, T2 upon T1. Okay, so we have to take this T2 dash upon T1 is equal to initially P2 dash upon T1, and this P2 dash is equal to P2. So T2 dash upon T1 is equal to P2 upon T1 raised to gamma minus 1 upon gamma. And from this, by putting P2 and T1 is given, okay, 1 is to 4. So, and 1.4 is adiabatic index, that is gamma. So we'll get the T2 dash over here in terms of the Kelvin. Then we are having the isentropic efficiency in terms of static properties of temperature. Isentropic efficiency can be given as T2 dash minus T1 upon T2 minus T1. By putting the value, we will get the first answer, that is T2. Okay, that is temperature of air at outlet. The next step is what we have to calculate the power required to drive the compressor. And we know that power required is given by the actual work. Okay, so this can be the work done by actual also or work done by the impeller also. But we can have the temperatures here, so we can take in terms of the MCP delta T. Okay, that is actual work in terms of isentropic efficiency or in terms of the thermodynamic work. Okay, or actual work. So we can take it. So first of all, we need a mass over here, m dot, to calculate the required power. So we cannot calculate directly the mass, so we can use the ideal gas equation P is equal to mRT, and we can take the P is equal to rho RT. So P1 is equal to P R rho RT1. From this, we'll get the density. Now, once we get the density and then density into discharge, we'll get the m dot over here. Now, consider air is the ideal gas over here. So this is usual method to calculate the mass flow rate in the compressor. If the area that is width of the vanes are not given, then directly from the discharge, we can calculate this particular mass flow rate by calculating the density from the ideal gas equation with respect to temperature and pressure. So we'll get the mass flow rate. And once you get the mass flow rate, okay, and by considering the mechanical efficiency is 100%. Means if you take the mechanical efficiency, what is the mechanical efficiency basically? The mechanical efficiency work done actual upon the power input. If it is 100%, then power required is equal to m dot into work done actual. And work done actual is given by m dot into Cp T2 minus T1. By putting this value, respective value, we'll get the power required also. Okay. So next one, calculate the impeller diameter at inlet and outlet. So work done, we know that, okay, work done actual. So we have calculated the work done using this power required and per unit mass. Actually, work done per kg. This is work done per kg. Slip factor, we have the slip factor also. Phi is equal to VW upon U2. And from this, we will get the VW2 basically. Once you get the VW2, we have to put the in terms of actual formula of the work done actual formula, then we will get the U2 over here. And once you get the U2, then we can get the whirling component of the velocity also. Because we have to find out the temperatures, what we have to find out the diameters, so we have to find out the U2 also. Okay, and once you get the U2 over here, from this we can get the D2. And once you get the D2, and we are given that numerical outer diameter is 2 times of inner diameter, so we'll get the D1 also. Okay, so this is what for calculate the procedure of impeller diameter at inlet and outlet. Then we have to find out the blade angles in the means we have to find out the theta and we have to find out diffuser blade angles at inlet. Simple, you are going to use the inlet blade angles usual tan theta, and by this geometry V1 upon U1 you already find it out. So pi D1 upon 60 and V1 is already given. So straightforward we are get the theta value over here. For the beta value, again we can use the beta tan beta from the outer velocity triangle, and from outer velocity triangle we will get the this beta angle also. So straightforward numerical is given. Okay, so instead of in compressor, we can calculate the work by using the this actual formula also, that is work done actual VW to U2, and we can calculate the work done by actual by MCP delta T also. So both formula can be used. So this is the first type of numerical over here.